my name is Alyssa. I run the YouTube channel Illymation. I animate storytime videos. Well, I do more than that. I animate videos about like my life or just things I like to talk about. Yeah.
How do you describe yourself when somebody's like, what do you do?
What do you do? Yeah. No one's asked. I haven't been on YouTube enough for people to really ask, so.
I always have a hard time with that when people, especially lately, because I have so many different things that I've done in my career. When people are like, "Oh, what do you do?" It's like, that's such an American thing too. Like to define yourself by your job. It's like that's a hard.
I think I read an article about that.
That's a hard thing. I'm thinking about doing an episode about that too, because it's fucked up.
You should just like, part of that could be, because the very journalistic approach, just going around like, what do you do? What do you do? Just to strangers.
Yeah.
And just see them like,
How do you define, that's a good question. How do you define yourself?
What I tell people is I'm a freelance animator, but I guess if people are aware of YouTube, but like don't know about me and my channel, like I just say like, oh, I'm a YouTube animator. Yeah.
Do you like that definition?
That's what I like, because I know like animator has so many different like webs of what it could mean. There's people who like that kind of Disney stuff, Eric Goldberg, like drawing on pencil and paper, which was like a lot of the first animation stuff, very traditional. And I do that. I did that in college. But what I do now is YouTube animation that is on YouTube exclusively. Then there's TV animation. Obviously the animation style is like digitally, it's flash, sometimes there's little puppet rigs, and yeah, that's like TV animation.
Did you always want to do that?
Always want to do
like animating art in general?
Yeah.
Were you in pursuit of anything as a kid like that, or is it?
I think like I just really liked drawing. I really wanted to be a character designer, because I thought that's something, because like I would just draw Lion King characters over and over again, like the same character over and over again. And I remember there was a girl in 7th grade, I think, who was like, if you draw the same thing over and over again, you should be an animator. And I got so mad. I was like, no, I would not do that. That's too much work. I want to be a character designer. So I go to school for animation degree, because I was like, they have a character design class. I need an animation degree. There's no character design degree. Animation degree, we're good. Obviously, it was all animation classes and like 1 or 2 character design. And I was like, all right, I'll animate, whatever. And then I found out I liked it. So I was like, okay, I'm an animator. And then, then from there, I just thought I would just follow the traditional path that I think a lot of art schools, like, I guess, expect of you, and that's like, go do a studio job. So go work for Warner Brothers, go work somewhere in Burbank, which I was like just on track to do. Then I got an internship with It's Alex Clark, and I learned how to use Toon Boom animation. Yeah, Toon Boom Harmony. That's what I use now. And I was like, this is cool. And then, it was through that I learned about YouTube animation scene. And I was like, that's cool. And I'd like to do more animating than just stuff for class. So I'll find time to make videos. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And it was never a dream to do YouTube. So I'm really grateful for it. I know a lot of people work really, really hard for years to be where I am in numbers and in growth. So I'm just trying to put out good things and keep my good graces.
I think you're doing a good job from my perspective anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to embrace success for me. I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but it's like when I am in a good place, I feel bashful about being like, yeah, everything's great or something. Or because especially if stuff isn't great personally, it's like, am I allowed to have a problem if my job's great? Am I allowed to be sad otherwise or whatever?
Yeah. Sharing good news is hard because, it's like you don't want to come off as like cocky. You don't want to come off as like, guess what I have that you don't. When really it's just like, I have good news. But like, I don't know. I share a lot with my mom. Mm-hmm. Who's she going to tell? That's
I'll
what
cut her.
No. That's a direct quote. She's like, who am I going to tell? I'm like, you're right. Tell my brother, When it comes to talking to people, like, I don't know if I'm overthinking it. I don't know if I just don't know what people already think of me as well. And as much as you want to say you don't care what people think of you, you kind of do. We all do, in some little way or another. I'm very nervous talking to people. I always leave and I go, was I too emotional?
Are you panicking about this situation?
Yeah, I'm a little scared.
Now that we have like 2 cameras and lights and stuff. It feels very formal, I know.
It's very, no, but it's still like, It's a thing where, like, I obviously like talking about my emotions and, like, the whole, like, emotions can make you strong. Like, so there's something strong about being vulnerable. At least you're doing it, and other people can see that and feel vicariously through you, which is cool, but not what I intended when I started my YouTube channel. I just intended to do something besides schoolwork. And I was like, oh, other people are doing these story things. That's cool. I have stories. I can animate. And yeah. And then people started watching my videos after the Chick-fil-A one blew up. And then I was like, I hit 100K. And I was like, oh, people are caring about my opinions now. And what I say is going to affect them deeply. So I should do this. I should talk about my abusive ex-boyfriend.
That's such a brave leap. It's such an annoying word to like use for that, because I'm sure you hear it a lot, but it's like, that's such a, I think most people would say, I gotta reel it in or something.
Yeah, I wish I definitely went into it with ignorance, because I mean, I pulled all the sources I could. I used the vocabulary that impacted me when I needed it in that time. And was just like, here's what I know. I hope it helps someone. And then it blew up into this like YouTube career, which is a weird, like, absolutely not what I intended. I guess I can talk about this. It was a lot because it was all blowing up around September and October. And I was really busy because I was at school. And it was around midterms time. And I was getting to the point where I could fail some classes. And it was my senior year. And it was a very expensive program, and I could not afford to take any more semesters. I needed to finish on time. So in the midst of me working on my part 2 video and also flying to San Francisco to meet Holly and Kit and, like, feel out this YouTube thing, it got so busy that I was like, I need to drop out of school. And so I dropped out, and I haven't talked about that because, like, who needs to know that? But
do you feel bashful about it at all?
What do you mean bashful? Like
you just seem like it's hard to talk about. Is it something?
I don't know. I guess I think the thing is, like, I feel weird talking about some private things going on in my life, whether it's
never feel obligated here, by the way.
Oh no, it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I guess my point is just like I feel weird talking like publicly to my YouTube audience. I feel weird talking about some things in my private life, but obviously if I can talk about my abusive ex-boyfriend. Anyway, the way I see it is like that happened 4 years ago, and things going on presently in my life, people don't need to know about until I've processed it, and I won't go into it with emotions blazing. I mean, obviously I have plenty of emotions left, but like, yeah.
Is that how you handle things typically? Just sort of like trying to understand them before you talk about them, or are you pretty reactionary?
I mean, totally I'm reactionary to my close friends, and I have a lot of heated words and a lot of like hot takes and all that stuff when things go down in the moment. A lot of crying. But yeah, and I now that kind of when anything happens to me, my first thought is like, oh God, like if anyone finds out about this, it'll be tea. And like, what if and then I'm like careful about who I open up to about things, because there's nothing stopping them from making a YouTube video about me. Like, there's nothing stopping, like, if I go on a Tinder date, there's nothing stopping them from saying, snapping a picture and going, I'm on a Tinder date with Illymation. Like, it's just a weird, like, I'm such an open book and I have so many emotions, but now is the time that I'm learning to reel it in. I feel like I'm kind of babbling, but like...
Not at all.
Okay, but yeah. Now is when I'm really starting to reel things in. Not in a way that I feel like I have to hide things. It's just a matter of like, your circles, and people want to know things about me. Strangers want to know things about me a lot, like passionately. So, plenty of DMs that are like, hey, is this going on in your life? And I'm like, delete.
I've gotten that. Or people just somehow know that there's shit.
Something. And I'm like, like, I mean, and it's like, well, I don't owe anyone, answers to things. I don't have to open up to a stranger about things going on in my life. That's what a therapist is for, But
do you go to? I don't want to be too personal if I'm asking.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I see a therapist, and if you can afford it, I totally, encourage that. They're a professional, and there's something about, you know, like obviously like we all go through a lot, and there's a lot of guilt for me, I feel, when I, you know, I'm going through something, I want to talk to a friend about it, but I also feel like a burden sometimes, and maybe that's like, yeah, an anxiety or depression thing, or I don't know, or just like a human thing. You don't want to bombard the people you care about with all this negativity. And so, I mean, yeah, I do tell my friends absolutely everything, but I also turn to my therapist and go, so this happened. How do I process this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just things like that.
That's interesting that you word your tea.
My tea.
As if it's just negativity to bombard.
Negativity. Yeah, negativity.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
That's the tea. but yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Is that like one thing I've been processing, actually in therapy this morning, this was one thing I was processing, was that like my id is to reach the negative possibilities and choose between the two negative possibilities. And then somewhere deeply beyond that, there's something positive. But it's all I see is like, well, if this happens, then everything's bad. Yeah. But if that happens, which is the only other option, that's where it goes. And it's just like, I think I do a similar thing where I'm like, I'm a burden. I don't want to annoy people with my feelings.
Exactly.
What makes you? Why do you feel? This, I don't want this to feel like an interview, but it's
I
like
love this.
It's just turning into one.
Yeah.
But when do you feel like you've ever aired too much? You said too much.
I think always, because it's a matter of like, I think I see myself as an opportunist. I'm definitely pessimistic, but I'm constantly thinking about like, if I hadn't said this, what would happen? And it's not like, you know, it's a matter of like, what if instead of going to Denny's, we went to IHOP? Like, I just think about like, what if? And it's like, that's a very neutral way I think about things. But yeah, when I'm in like a bad mood, then I do think about like, oh no, I said this to my friends. And what I think about, you know, when you get to like the crossroads of like the worst possible things happening, I think about like, oh my God, I opened up to someone. What if I said too much because they could use it against me? That is always my biggest fear, is that I open up to someone and someone who I think I can trust, and they'll just like run away and just tell someone for views on YouTube. That's a spook. Or tell someone, I don't know, who's looking to take advantage of me, or just someone, just like trust like that. I care a lot about.
What are you afraid of them using against you?
I wouldn't say I have any scandals going on. I just sit in my room and animate all day.
So what's the fear?
I guess the fear is just like, I guess more it's just like things in my private life, like my love life, where I live, like things like that people don't need to know. But, you know, if people were to air to the public, I'd be like, hey, now I have to deal with this, I guess. It's not so much like I'm secretly an evil overlord and I don't know. It's like I don't know, I'm just afraid of, I don't know. Like there's the abusive ex-boyfriend thing, like there's more to my life than that. And there's like things that have happened to me before and after that I would say have like deeply upset me more and more. There are things obviously that I do not want to make videos about on YouTube, because it's about me and I don't want anyone's opinion on it. And I'm just being so vague right now. But
not at all, no. I mean, that makes perfect sense, because it's so scary to, I've been going through like a really bad moment lately, and a lot of it's public because Sugar Pine has been announced to be closed. Oh, yeah. And it's, that's really not as big of a deal as other stuff that's happening, but I can't necessarily talk about those things quite yet. But the feeling of like I'm being defined by this or something, this negativity is defining me. Suddenly all of these problems are what people are like, to put a comment section under your worst day. That's
it. That's like I know who I am, and I know like all the very bad things that I've gone through that I don't want to talk about, because that's just it. Like I don't want, like, for people to comment on my abusive relationship and just say it wasn't abuse. I'm like, cool, I know what I went through. But then for other things, it's like, I don't want people to comment on my mental health. I don't want people to comment on my body. I don't want people, I mean, but they're gonna. But if I tell all of these stories, I really don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Do you read comments?
I don't. I mean, I do, but I don't. Like, when a video first goes up, I read comments within like the first 48 hours, and then from there I just kind of come in for the next week. But it's when things hit recommended traffic, and that's when like your people who are not subscribed to you are watching your videos. I don't read those comments because I know, like, you know, they're not subscribed to me. That means they don't know me, or they don't know me. You know what I mean? That's very relative. But yeah, they're just not on my side. And so it's like things can get very critical. Not that I can't take criticism about like, oh, your perspective is off and all that, but it's like, no, people get really critical about you as a person. And so, yeah, it's around like a week is when I stop reading comments. Like, oh my God, if I went back to my abusive ex-boyfriend video right now and read the comments, oh, gross. Like, I will not go to that right now. But anyway.
Yeah, I just have been so like in my head lately myself about like how are people perceiving me process this really bad moment in my life. And
I don't want people to see it at all. That's how I feel about it. It's like, this is me. Just because there's a camera and like you have a YouTube channel or you have an entertainment career, well, your negativity and your breakdown isn't their entertainment. It's like your life. Yeah.
Or their business.
Or their business. There's no one's entitled to what's going on in your life that you aren't willing to share yourself. Yeah.
Are you a happy person?
The fact that I had to like go like this and think about it, I guess not. But like, I just know I'm pessimistic and opportunist, but also pessimistic. And yeah, I'm like trying to be happy. I'm trying to be more like doing things for me kind of thing.
What does that mean?
Watching Twilight, which is like such a problematic series in every way, shape, and form. But at least it was something that like all the girls were into in middle school. And I was like, I'm not like other girls. I have no idea what's going on in Twilight, who is Jacob. But now I'm like, you know what? I kind of hated that part about myself of being okay with going with the flow and doing things that are traditionally girly. So I got makeup on. I want to figure out makeup eventually. I don't know. All those things I used to deny in myself, which is, what's the word? Internalized misogyny. Like those things that are like traditionally very girly, and it's like, ew, that's girly, don't do that. Like I'm trying to like rediscover those things that I missed out on, which is very self-care. It's very like, I'm going to do this for me, and if it's not fun, then like whatever. But I'm watching a lot of romance films on Netflix.
Is this like your nuggets of happiness during the day?
Yeah. Well, I always end the day by staying up way too late watching romance films on Netflix. That's it. And I work a very normal, like I work from like 10 to like 6 or 7, whatever the 8 hours is, until I get all my work done. And then I'm like, romance films.
Is your job, do you still like find happiness? It's such a weird way to word this,
yeah.
But like, do you still find happiness in drawing and that stuff now that it's a job?
Yeah. There are times where I'm like, recently I've been playing, what's the word? Show tunes and like musical theater stuff and singing along. What I'm finding is I need to like stop trying to monetize my happiness or stop trying to like monetize a good time, because I'll be like drawing and I'll be like in the zone, getting a ton of work done, and I'll be singing and I'm like, my followers should see this, or like I should stream so they can watch this, which I do because it's fun. But there are times where I've just stopped myself, like I've opened OBS, I'm like, I can have a fun time by myself. Like, I don't need validation that I'm having a fun time. No one needs to see me having a fun time. I can just have a fun time. Like, that's it. Yeah.
The world is, with like social media and shit, it's so easy to fall into that like, oh, but I want everyone to see that I'm at Disneyland, or like I want everyone to see that I'm like getting on a set, or like doing stuff like this. It's like there's always selfies.
I feel like it's almost my job to clue people in when I'm doing something cool. You know, I feel like that's it. Like I should like, oh, Illymation is meeting up with Anthony Padilla to do an interview. I better take a selfie and I better like allude to the thing that's coming. And I think I did on my Instagram. But yeah, and it's just like I'm an entertainer. And my life is what is entertaining to people, and I better keep them up to date. But then once, I don't know, now I'm on my Twitter, I've been trying to just post things that just make me laugh. Like, I don't know if you saw my tweet. It was about 0% milk.
Yeah. I think I retweeted that.
It was just a conversation with me and my friend, and she was like, 1% milk, 2% milk. What does that mean? And I was like, what if it was like 0% milk? Like, was it skim milk? And then I was like, I'm gonna tweet that out. And I was like, Alexa, what's 0% milk? And everybody, and I know it's a dumb thing, but it made me laugh, and I have enough confidence in like the fun and happiness just I have by myself or with friends that I'm like, haha. I'm just like, haha. And the same with the little French fry. I brought it with me.
Oh no!
I brought it with me. Oh, the long.
Oh no! Why I said oh no? I'm so excited.
He's right here. I don't know where the.
Oh my
He's
God.
right here. I just love this, and I'm gonna like take him everywhere.
Okay, what's the
with
story
me.
of this?
Oh my God! It's just like an act of self-love. That was all it was. It was just I was in Target. I was in Target with my family in North Carolina, and I was walking around Target with my brother, and I see this, but I don't see it like this. I see it in the dollar section like this. And I was like, what is, because I was just like, it's just a stuffed animal, but it's just a line. And then I turn it over and I go, oh my God. My life was just like, I was like, I have to get this. And my brother was like, I want to get it. And I was like, I'm going to get it. And I didn't have my wallet with me. And I was like, Dad. And the lady at the counter, bless her soul, she didn't, I don't know, think like this doesn't have a price tag. Where'd it come from? Go find the rest of it. Go find the price tag. I was like, can I get this? And the lady was like, and she's like, okay. And she was like, where'd you find it? I was like, the dollars? Because it comes from a bigger set of more French fries, but they don't have faces.
They're not good enough.
They're not good enough. They don't have faces, and they're in this big bucket, which makes it's even funnier if you manage to find the picture. I think it's on Amazon. But yeah, she was like, $1, and I was like, and then that was the first picture I took of him in the Target to-go bag. And yeah, and then it started with like, I just had it, and I think my brother just wanted to also like fuck with it, put it on his Instagram and stuff. And so yeah, I think he swiped it, and I was like, where is it? And I wake up in the morning, I turn on the light, and it's in the bathroom, right next to the mirror, and I was like,
I just feel like I relate to that so much, but not on a smiley face level, but just physically, I feel like I resemble that French fry. Okay, so let's get meta about that. What about this makes you happy?
First of all, it was a surprise of like, what is that? Oh, like that's mostly it. I think it was just like also something too that was like, when you look at this, you don't need a reason to feel happy. Like you don't need to be like, what does make you happy? Like it's a fucking smiley face on a French fry. Like it's like, and whoever made this too, like good design. It's just like cool. And then the thing was too. Oh, this is another thing which. I took a really funny video where it zooms in and it plays the little and it like shows his little face, and I like flipped it over and I was like, this is a funny video, I'm gonna put it on my Twitter. And I put it on my Twitter just to share it, no context. I think I just said like, look at this French fry, because I was like, this is funny, lol. And then like that tweet was like blowing up, and like that's my biggest tweet ever, and I was
that's
like,
amazing.
I was like, what? And then people were like, we want more. Somebody actually tagged me, I think today on Instagram, because they got the same damn French fry. And they recreated all the photos that I took. And I wasn't trying to do anything. I was just like, this makes me happy. Lol. And then it made everyone else happy by no effort. Because happiness sometimes, like, I think when I wake up, I'm at a default of like I could swing either way. Because I'm very emotional, very, I think, reactive and stuff. And so, like, sometimes it takes effort to be happy. Sometimes you just have a bad day and it takes effort to be happy. But when things are just effortlessly happy, it's so nice. And it's like, nice. That's it. Like,
is that what you're after when it comes to like what even is happy for you?
Oh man. I think happiness for me is more of a content feeling of like a content and confident feeling in I'm good and no one's going to step on this, which I've really been trying to reach now. That's what I think is happiness.
It's a safety.
Safety and security just in yourself, which sounds like we should be doing yoga while saying that. But like, yeah, just, I don't know, just truly happy and not by anyone else, maybe by inanimate objects, but like, just like, I don't know, the confidence that your happiness is yours and no one's gonna get in the way of it.
What's the happiest you've ever been?
Yeah, think about that.
It's a big one, I know.
I mean, this recently, like straight up. Oh man.
That shit happened to me with the bean nut thing. Did you see that?
Yes.
That was like, I was just.
Bean nut. That's it. That's just bean nut hat. And then everyone else is like, ha. And like, that's it.
I was just like cackling to myself in my living room one morning, and it turned into the exact same thing where I was like, that's stupid. I love it. So my friend said it. I didn't even come up with it. My friend was like, Reese's peanut butter cup. And that shit made me laugh for weeks. And so I made it. But it was the same thing where it was like, that is so nice.
Yeah.
I didn't have to like work for that. And other people benefited.
Everybody benefited. It's like a group laugh. Mm-hmm. I guess, okay, now I think about it. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of happy moments, but one that's really coming to mind is last year at VidCon. I had such a good time. And I know like some people are like, oh, VidCon, it's like overpriced, totally. But like overhyped, over this, over that. And it was my first VidCon, and I was not doing YouTube. I was not intending to do YouTube. It was summer break in college, and yeah, I had discovered YouTube, the animation scene. And at the time my boyfriend was like, you should go to VidCon. Oh, sorry. He was like, you should go to VidCon, like you can meet all these people. And I was like, I don't really want to meet anybody. I'm not like a fanboy. And yeah, if you name any YouTuber, I probably don't know who they are because I'm just not very plugged in. So I was also like, I don't want to meet someone and be like, sorry, who are you? And they're like, I'm the, and I'll be like, cool, see ya. But yeah, I felt like it wasn't going to be like my scene. And also with all the animators, like it's a very tight-knit group of people. And I'm like, they're not just going to like let me into their Airbnb. They did. And we had spaghetti. And like, it was like my favorite thing ever. And I didn't really know anybody. And also the thing too with animators, like you don't really know what everybody looks like. And yeah, I opened the door and I only recognized this person by their voice. And they were like, Illy, it's so nice to meet you. And I was like, Maddie. And I was like, that's what you look like. And she's like, oh, that's what you look like. And I was like, it was so cool. It was so cool. And yeah, it was just, they were just like, yeah, come on over. And I was like, but y'all don't know me. Like I could be like this undercover fan, like trying to like, I don't know, like take advantage of you. Like I could have such bad intentions. They're like, come over for spaghetti. And I was like, okay. And they made a vat of spaghetti. That's the only way I can describe it. It was about 20 people. Vat of spaghetti. And then some people were vegan, so they did the meat sauce and the not meat sauce. Mm-hmm. They had garlic bread, and some of it had the vegan butter on it, some of it didn't. And I was like, oh my God. They're like, in case anyone's vegan. And I was like, and this is people from like all around the world that flew in and just had this Airbnb, and they were like, yeah, come in for spaghetti. And I was like, like, of course I'd talked to them before then. There was enough trust to give me that address. But yeah, like that was like the happiest moment. I remember sitting there eating that spaghetti, and then the sweet guy who made it, his name was Sam, and he was kind of sad because he overcooked it. There's so many goddamn noodles in the pot. But like, it was like squishy. But I was like, I love this spaghetti. I love being around people. I don't know any of these fucking people. Yeah, that was the happiest moment, I think.
Of your life?
I don't know about of my life, but like, I think about that a lot to the point where like this VidCon, I've been bugging people. I'm saying spaghetti night. Spaghetti night? Like, I don't have an Airbnb.
Dude, if nobody will do it with you, I'll do it with you. I fucking love spaghetti.
God, I'll eat spaghetti every damn day of VidCon. Yeah, spaghetti night. Spaghetti night was really fun.
That's happiness for you?
That was happiness for me, eating spaghetti with my friends. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be like an over the top. We went to Disney World and we were the first ones to ride.
Okay, so this brings me to the next time we hang out.
Yeah.
What do you do when you're feeling blue? Like how do you get to, how do you either unwind or help yourself feel happier?
Yeah. I wish I could say that every single time I feel like super dark place that I just get myself out of it. But like truly, that's not how it works. And like, yeah, I don't want people watching this to be like, oh, Illymation's like got it all figured out, because I don't. But yeah, I guess to preface, like there are absolutely days where like I let the darkness consume me. Like I just like stay in bed and cry and I don't get any work done. And I have very dark thoughts. And like when I want to reach out to people, I manage to convince myself not to. And then it's like 2 days later that I finally deal with the problem. And as much as I want to say, like, that's valid, do that, don't do that, that's what I'm trying not to do. And that's why I'm so glad you, like, have me here to talk about happiness. That's why I'm so glad I found this French fry, and, like, I don't know. But as for, like, when I do pull myself out of things, it's also a matter of, like, getting to know what coping skills work for you. Because a lot of people are just like, oh, if you're feeling anxious, take a warm bath to calm down. I found out that doesn't work for me. I need to go swimming. Like if I'm anxious and like wired, like I need to do something to like get that energy physically out. And it's not like I'm not thinking about and processing things, but I still, get to be alone with my thoughts first before I spill them onto either my therapist or somebody else, just to like for me to know what's going on, why I'm feeling anxious. So yeah, there was a time, it was back when I was doing freelance actually, that I was really whizzed out about something, and I was like, I'm sorry, I gotta go. Can I go to the gym? And they were very nice. They were a very awesome boss. He was like, yeah, go, don't worry. Yeah, it was great. And I swam super freaking fast that day. But yeah, like I realize I need to do that. So like when I'm just not feeling good, I know, first of all, just get out of the house. Changing your surroundings does enough. Like just walking outside, I'm like, sun is so bright. How dare I feel sad in front of this sun, Not really, but but yeah, like I'll go out. I don't think it's very good, but I do eat, because usually when I'm like in a big depressed funk, I'm not eating because I just can't get out of bed. And then I also have like it suppresses your appetite at some point too. And the last thing I need is like, mental and physical problems. Like, so it's like I need to get out, I need to eat something. I should probably drink more water, but I'm not there yet. One step at a time. And yeah, get out of the house and go somewhere. Walk around. Just get out. Get out physically so you can help get yourself out of it mentally.
So what's your happy place?
Happy place is Laguna Beach. When I was in college, all of my friends and I would go down there. It's just the nearest one to the school. And it's just like, every time I go down there, it's like I'm just thinking about all the other fun times I had there. So don't do this. But at 2 a.m, my friends and I would walk down to Laguna Beach like little gremlins because we didn't have a car. And it would be low tide, and we'd just walk south until we couldn't walk anymore. And there were these big like rocks and like I guess like a cliffside of some sort. And it was like, there was no more beach beyond that. And if there was, like, we couldn't get around it. And there was a time we were all like just climbing around the rocks, like, ooh, rocks, cool. And then we were like, oh, these are where the cool shells are. Like all the tourists took the other cool shells. These are all so I have like a shell from when we were walking around at 2 a.m. on the rocks with no lifeguards, which is very unsafe. Don't do that. And I have this really cool shell. It's about this big, and I guess like a conch, but it's like a triangle, whatever. And we were all like, neat. We like each found this big ass, cool ass shell. We were all like, neat. And then the tide came in, and we were like, ah! And we all like ran off the rocks, and like somebody scraped their leg, and it was like, ah! We were just like, not teens, but like young adults being young adults. And so I think about that when I go to the beach, and just like, I mean, like, I went on a really good date at like a gelato place, and like, and like think about that, and like, yeah, just like going back is like, nice. Like nice things happen here.
What do you do while you're there?
I really just like walking around, because every time you go down to Laguna Beach, there's the canyon that you drive through, and it's just not fun to drive through because that's where all the traffic gets stuck. There's like no parking along there ever, and your radio doesn't work because it's the freaking canyon. You have no service, and you're just like getting through. And then when it finally opens up into Laguna Beach, like the trees are white. I guess that's a California thing.
Oh.
Like they're like kind of peely, and they're white, and they're really big and green and leafy. And every store, every building looks different. Some of that is gentrification, sadly. But others are just like things that have been preserved for so long. Like there's cute little beach houses everywhere. There's also a bunch of just like really cute local things in there that I'm so glad are like thriving in Laguna Beach. And like, I don't buy anything. It's very expensive. I don't really eat there. It's also very expensive, but like, it's just pretty and nice. Yeah, during tourist season, it's a little less pretty and nice, but like, it's nice. I just like to walk around and be like, nice. Like, I don't, nice. Like anything that comes back to like, nice. Like that's it. Like a very easy, nice.
So if you were to take me on a trip to your happy place, it's just like go and hang out in Laguna Beach.
Yeah, just the coolest spot. The coolest spot is Main Beach, which is always crowded, but like if the tide is low, if you go down Broadway, Main, there's Main Beach, and then on Main Beach you just go right, and there's this little tide pool area, and when the tide comes in, it's hilarious because you're like, getting out, but like there's a bunch of shells, and they're like, don't steal the shells, and there's like a bunch of like algae and stuff. You can usually see little fish little hermit crabs, not hermit crabs, just crabs. And it's just so cool. And there's always like somebody there. If you ask them a question about anything, you'd be like, why do the rocks hurt my feet? She's like, well, and like, they're just there to answer questions, make sure you don't steal any of the wildlife. And those are rocks that you totally can climb around on. And it's just so cool. And there's a lot less people over there too, because it's not really like advertised. There's also Heisler Park, which is kind of like right above that tide pool section. And it's just a bunch of grass and flowers. And that's the place to take a picture. It's so pretty. There's a place, Sushi Laguna, I think is my favorite. And like from the outside, you're just like, oh, like it doesn't have like any special like branding or anything. It just says Sushi Laguna. And you're like, all right. And there's little flaps you have to walk through and it looks kind of dark. And you go in and it's just the nicest little sushi restaurant. It's so good. Bonsai bowls is another affordable thing to eat in Laguna Beach. And it's like those acai bowls. So good. Like that was my first acai bowl. So I get to go there a lot.
What's your comfort food?
Oh my God. Mac and cheese. Yes. Mac and cheese. Can't find that in Laguna Beach. But yeah, there's also Top of the World, which when it's nighttime, it's a great place to cry because it's like I think the highest point you can drive up, and you're meant to drive up there, park and go hiking down and stuff, but you just sit there and it's a good place to be on 4th of July because you can see up and down the coast.
Yeah.
You can see the fireworks going off in other cities. You're so high up. And in Laguna Beach, like it's insane up there. Wow. It's the coolest spot on 4th of July and it's very crowded. So like, don't even bother. We just like pulled over and stood in someone's like front yard and we're like, okay. But still, it's still cool to be at night too. It's like Laguna Beach goes to bed at 7 p.m. It's just tourism and old people. So yeah, at night, it's really good to just like, I've gone up there a few times and just was like, and stared out into the void and like, no one can hear you cry when you're, what, like 1,000 feet up? I don't know. Like, anyway.
So we're going to go to Laguna Beach.
I'm going to take you to Laguna Beach. Look at some sushi. I mean, maybe acai bowls.
And then we'll cry.
No, we'll cry at the top of the mountain. Yeah. Oh, we're going to go to the tide pools and then cry.
Yes. And also, I have a recipe for mac and cheese. McCune and cheese.
This sounds like an all-day adventure with like meal times.
Can it be? That sounds fun. I don't know. Just want to hang out.
Beach.
There's that sounds really cool. I really love that.
Yeah.
When I first moved out here.
Thanks for letting me like talk. I just realized how much I talked.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. When you first moved out here.
Yeah, when I first moved out here in 2012, I was 21. I think. Yep. 21 going on 22. And I got through a just viciously terrible breakup. And I didn't know anyone in California in general, except for like my work friends.
Me too.
Really?
That happened to me too.
Was that at the same time?
No, but when I moved here, it was 2015, went through a viciously awful breakup and didn't know anybody in California.
Shit. Yeah.
Same.
That's a lot of fun.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just being in emotional turmoil in a room by yourself.
Yeah. I had a roommate, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I did too, but I never saw her. I just stayed in my room, and I was just miserable. And I went to Santa Monica, and I would sit on the swing sets. I would get a churro. I would sit on the swing sets in Santa Monica, and I would cry.
That's the formula to happiness, though. Because after that, you feel really good.
Crying?
I mean, I feel really good after I cry. I almost feel like, all right, it's out. You know? Like, I like that. Like that was your formula to like at least getting it out and getting on your way to happiness is get a churro, sit on the swing.
I just needed something. I needed because I was just in my apartment for fucking ever, and I just knew. That's the worst thing is when you're going through a bad time and you're processing stuff. Is that you're judging? For me, I was judging myself about how I was processing it.
Me too. I was like, I shouldn't be crying about this. This is like I should move on. I should go back to work. But like, no.
It's so hard to let yourself cry.
It's so hard. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have so much respect for how you're like facing your stuff instead of pocketing it, because it's not even a conscious pocketing that happens. I think in moments like that, it's like
I think it's more of like a fight or flight thing,
and
it's more of like a freeze, fight or pocket, I guess. But yeah, sometimes you're just so overwhelmed by bad things that you can't even like react. You just start just like experiencing that aftershock.
How do you get out of that?
I think just I don't know, at some point in overthinking how you're reacting to things and feeling like, I shouldn't be acting like this, I shouldn't be acting like this, I gotta get over it. Like, at some point, like, I just find myself just breaking down and feeling all those things I said I shouldn't be feeling. And when I do that, I feel better, because that's when you're finally facing your problem. You got your problem and how you're reacting. And if you stop yourself from reacting, you're not going to get anywhere or get into processing or get into moving on. So, yeah, just feel all those emotions finally and just do something better. Do something that makes you feel better. Mm-hmm. Almost like let's go get some ice cream, pal.
Yeah.
You know?
My problem is that I'll start doing that over and over again to try and feel. Yeah, like I just get some ice cream, and I'm gonna just do this every single minute of every day.
I try to stop myself from doing that too. With like I feel like if I eat my problems, or if I just watch a Netflix show instead of crying, or instead of just sitting there and figuring out like what is going on, you know, or talking to a friend. But it's like I think like, yeah, with ice cream, going out, it has to be like a reward for letting myself process something, or else like that's just how I'm doing it, just for myself, like almost as like a conditioning thing of like, okay, like I'm in a headspace, I'm processing this, I'm gonna go outside and like continue processing this in a healthier way. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, you just gotta leave. I
gotta remember that. Because I think that I'm just like, this makes me feel good immediately, so I'm just going to do this instead of letting it be a reward for dealing.
That's what I do. And that's not some psychology thing. That's not like, I don't know, licensed therapist didn't say that, but that's what I do and what works. Yeah. Because a lot of it is, I think, just bad habits. It's really easy to stay in bed and cry when that's been your only habit. Breaking it is very hard. And it's not like you have to break it every time. You just do it when you can. But yeah, as a reward, I do feel rewarded too for like, this is what it's like to get better. This is what it's like to do what I should.
Well, I thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, for having us.
Oh yeah, where to find me is Illymation on pretty much everything. Illymation on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitch. On Twitch, I will live stream just my video making process. Check it out.
You got a Patreon too now, right?
I do have a Patreon. I forgot about that. I have a Patreon.
You have the best video to like start it off. I love it so much.
That was the mastermind that is Ian Doki and I. We were gonna. Yeah. You can keep rolling if you want, but yeah, it was at first he was like, no, it started with the Chaos shirts. Where I was like, I just need to film a plug live action. And he's like, okay, listen. He's like, you got to lean into the chaos thing. And I was like, you're right. What do we do? And he goes, we get you a crowbar. And I was like, what? And he goes, listen. He's like, you stand in front of a car and it looks like you're breaking into it, but you're not. Don't break into it. And I was like, okay. But I was like, I don't want to do it with my car. People will know what my car is, his car.
Yeah.
We do it with a stranger's car. I don't think we're breaking into their car.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. But like, yeah.
That's your happy place, is breaking into vehicles.
Cars.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. And so like, then when it came to any live action plug, we just always lean into the chaos thing. And the trash can thing, I was like, I'll just sit in a trash can again. He was like,
I love that.
He was like, listen. And I was like, what? You
have to draw that and put it on a shirt. That was fucking wonderful.
Listen. He's like,
no, you a trash can.
And me and a trash can, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, we just put you in different places and we cut between. And I was like, yes.
That's so good.
I'm not very extroverted. I'm not like the YouTube prank kind of person. Thanks. Oh my God, there was a lady that walked by when Pat was in his car and was like, what are you doing? Like, she thought he was being serious. And so after the cut, she was like, are you okay? Like, that guy was so mean. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, it was for a thing we were filming. She's like, oh, what are you filming? I was like,
that's so sweet.
It was so sweet. I had my mic was on, but the camera was too far away to pick it up. But yeah, I was like, I'm a YouTuber and I'm filming an ad read.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna run to the restroom.
Thank you. Yeah.